This is Show Up as a Leader, a show from People Forward Network, helping you maximize your positive impact on the world by becoming your best, fully authentic self. Hey everyone, it's Rosie. I am super excited to have my dear friend, Rana DeBoer, co-founder of Volt Strategy, launch a new series on the podcast called Elevate Your Leadership. In this series, Rana offers a unique blend of behavioral science and business strategy to help leaders take their cultures to the next level and build future-ready organizations. Take a listen.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Elevate Your Leadership podcast, a podcast for leaders at all levels who are, just like it sounds, wanting to level up their leadership and level up the health and performance of their team. So my name is Rana DeBoer. I'm an executive and organizational coach, your host today. And I feel like I say this all the time, but I am super jazzed about today's topic, which is energy rituals. Because what do we know? Performance doesn't just happen. Life happens. And how we perform in life and leadership doesn't just happen. We must be prepared for it. So that's the name of the game. That's what I've been doing for decades and love it. I am here to help today's leaders transform energy, strategy, and talent for not just good, not just great, but exceptional performance. So listen in and soak it up today. Let's have some fun. I think you're going to really take a couple good nuggets from this that you can put into practice nearly immediately and certainly with your teams. So, anyone heard of Nick Saban? Any Nick Saban fans out there? So, here's the thing. I recently heard this 7-time NCAA Division I national champion coach make a really great statement. Here it is. Most people would rather deal with the hardship than to prepare for success from the start. And that is exactly why today we are going to talk about energy rituals for performance. Because the difference between those who win, your definition of winning, right? What does winning mean to you? But the difference between those who win and truly those who don't is that those who win are willing to do more. They're willing to go the extra mile. They're willing to do the things that others aren't willing to do in order to be successful, in order to win. And that has everything to do with our energy capacity, because it's not time that we need to manage to be effective. It is truly our energy. And I hope today's episode on this small but mighty podcast can help put that into a little more perspective. And so I think a really great place for us to start today is truly understanding what a ritual is. So we're talking about energy rituals. We're talking about being that great peak leader. And by the way, as you're listening in, please jump out to my LinkedIn profile, go to my featured post and grab the peak leader guide, right? It's right there. The link is right there. And no, I'm not asking you for your email. I'm not going to put you on some distribution list. It's literally, team, a link. Go grab it, go crush it. Let's go. But it's a great guide to follow along on this little journey that we're taking today. So let's start again by truly understanding what a ritual is, which is not a habit. And I know habits are really important. Habits are crucial and critical in our leadership. Today, I want to talk about the rituals and energy rituals. So think of habits and rituals on two ends of a spectrum, two opposite ends of a spectrum, but very much related. So when we want to develop a good habit, we do something repeatedly, right? We do it over and over until it becomes second nature. It's like you don't even have to think about it. Obvious examples, right, are like brushing your teeth. taking a shower. I mean, those habits require little thought, and they also don't have a lot of emotional stake or emotional content or richness to them. I always say, habits don't require us to invest very much to be fully present. Yet the task still gets done. It just doesn't require a lot of energy or thinking, which our brain prefers. We want things easy. We like autopilot and automatic, which is why, right, habits are so hard to break and sometimes also so hard to form. That takes time. So, are you with me? Yeah. So, habits, those, I kind of say like they're tools for our efficiency and our productivity. So, our habits maybe are more tools. So, rituals, on the other hand, or on the other end of the spectrum, have this emotional content. They're habits infused with meaning. There's this richness of connection to them. There's a deep meaning and a value. So, here's a couple quick examples. Let's put this into perspective. Consider funerals. Right? There's a ritual. That is a ritual, the funeral, which helps us to manage that loss and that grief by connecting with others in some very specific ways, right? Or maybe you have in your family some special ways that you celebrate birthdays. That is a ritual. There's meaning to that. Great example was my grandmother. Growing up, the ritual was Grandma Eva always made the birthday cakes, and she was a creative. I mean, she made the most beautiful, the most fun, colorful. I mean, my favorite birthday cake was Cookie Monster. I'll never forget that birthday cake, right? Like that's a ritual. There's this deep meaning to it. Or you've likely heard about athletes or musicians, right, who have these certain rituals before a big game or before a performance. So, are you picking up what I'm putting down? There's this emotional richness to rituals. So, think about the emotions involved in those examples that I just gave and the range or spectrum of emotions between them, right? So, we use these rituals in these examples. We're coping with grief, to boosting enjoyment, right, in a special occasion, or pregame jitters where we've got this ritual to help us deal with the anxiety and mentally get prepared to go in for the win. So hopefully that makes sense. So this isn't just habits today. We're talking about rituals, which absolutely takes us to that next level in our leadership. So we've got the energy capacity to be able to just go crush it most days, right? No one's perfect. It's not an everyday thing. All right. So, quick pause point. Realize this. Realize this. The emotions that people can access with rituals is wicked powerful, right? The emotions that we can access with rituals are wicked powerful. That's what makes them so juicy and effective. That's what makes them so purposeful. That's what makes them great in helping us perform and lead at our best. It's what helps our teams lead and perform at their best together. So, here's a couple other quick examples because we are really focused on your personal leadership here for the first few minutes. My husband and I have friends, a married couple. They cook supper together almost every evening. So jealous of that. And without question, they go grocery shopping together every Saturday. They love to cook. It is a ritual. These activities for them, these are rituals that create a great feeling of connectedness and togetherness. It's sharing space, right? One more. I have a girlfriend who every morning gets up before the entire household explodes, right? 6 kids, it's crazy, to spend an hour going through a reflective journal based on some readings from the Bible. So this deep spiritual work for her, it's a ritual for high performance. It has incredible meaning. It's very grounding. It gets her centered and ready to go perform at her best in all of those places of leadership with her family, at work, wherever she finds herself in the day. So, my question to you, really quick, is what are your rituals for high performance? If this is a question that you haven't thought about What a great day and what a great opportunity for you to start thinking about that, right? If your energy rituals are solid and you've got them going, then this question is really to say, are they still serving you? Are they still working? Is there any tweak or edit or upgrade perhaps that you need to make to some of your energy rituals? All right. If you need a few ideas, here are some proven ones that I'm going to offer you to try on. 3 big ones. There are millions of them. And I picked 3 today that I thought could serve everyone, either because we need to get some energy rituals or perhaps we need an upgrade in one of our energy rituals or 2. Number 1, create space to breathe and think. I just can't emphasize this enough. And I'm sure you've been hearing about it. I'm sure that you think about it. But what's the difference between what I would say a good leader and being a great leader? It's the ability to self-reflect and to truly protect your energy levels, to build your capacity to have some renewal in your energy levels. So creating space to breathe and think. So we need this intentional space in our daily schedules. And here's what we get out of that. There's a 1, 2, 3 punch to this. Number 1, that white space provides us the ability just to process the day's events. Think about how many things are coming at you, how many conversations, how many situations you're in any given day. We need a hot second each day just to process those events and evaluate how we're doing against our own priorities and our own values. This doesn't have to be hours of time. This reflective space could be just 10 minutes. So 1, to process the day's events. 2, to evaluate how we're doing against our priorities and against our values, within our values. And number 3, to determine what we need. And this is the one I love the most. I'm not sure that we intentionally spend enough time, leaders, being able to say, what do we need? So without some white space, if you will, to kind of think, our mental clarity diminishes. And you know exactly what happens when our mental clarity diminishes, right? What happens? Our leadership effectiveness goes down the tank, down the toilet, flush it, boom. So what is this emotion that we said is so powerful in rituals that's charged with this take a break for mental clarity? Absolutely, we feel more grounded, just like my girlfriend in her morning ritual of reflective time. We feel more grounded, in control. I just, who can't benefit from feeling like your life is in more control, right? A little less stress, absolutely feeling more confidence and more energized. And that is just a very powerful emotion. And we know this too, right? We've said this earlier, managing energy, not our time, is absolutely key. So think about this. A core program, I'm just going to go off on a tangent for just a moment. So come with me. Just sit with me on this for just a second. One of the core problems, right, with working these long hours is time is a finite resource. Energy, which is why we're talking about energy rituals today, is a very, very different story. It's renewable. We can regroup on it. We can rebuild it. We can recharge it. And that's truly what I'm talking about when I say energy capacity. And as a leader, look at your teams, look at yourself, look at your organization. We spend, I think, a lot of time developing employees' skills, their knowledge and their competence. But are we spending enough time to look at building and sustaining capacity? Sometimes we take that for granted. So greater capacity makes it possible to get things done in less time and higher levels of engagement with greater sustainability. That's just win, win, win. So energy ritual number 1, creating some white space so that you've got time to reflect. That's you as a leader. Now, with what we just talked about in terms of looking at our teams and our organizations, can you create a ritual of allowing people to have that kind of white space so that they can renew and recharge. Okay, that brings us right to ritual number 2, our ultradian rhythms, which means that we just need to take some brief but regular breaks throughout the day. I'm sure you guys have heard this. Where's your micro recoveries throughout the day? So consider this a little bit of a physiological hack, right? Because these 90 to 120-minute cycles, these rhythms, are where our body kind of slowly fades from that state of what we'd say high energy into a state of some lower energy. So at the end of each cycle, our bodies start to give us signals that we need some recovery, right? Restlessness, hungry, losing our ability to concentrate. The problem, I think, that's worthy of a pause in this podcast, why we're talking about this today, is I think we can sometimes tend to ignore those. And the consequence of that is this depleted energy reserve. And if we do that one day, and then we make a habit of not recognizing that or just moving and pushing through it, before you know it, we're days and months along. And now we're starting to feel some of those effects of burnout, dissatisfaction, losing our confidence, all the things. So that's not what we want. So think about those intermittent micro breaks that you can take. Here's the key. This is the science to it that's just like bomb goes off, like great things around this. The catch of the science in it is that the length of the renewal is less important than the quality. So really what I'm saying is anything that allows you to check out for just a few seconds, to fully disengage from the work and truly quote unquote change channels, is an energy capacity building win. That's a win. So something as simple as talking with a colleague about anything other than work, right? The emotion to that is that connection time. Listening to a song, a favorite song, the emotional connection is the joy of that music. Maybe it's walking up and down the steps or going around the building. Or if you are in that labor field where you are physically active all day, maybe it's some stretching and the joy, the happiness, the byproduct of that movement, of that relaxation, of that moving some blood flow through your body, right? That's the emotional connection there. So I truly encourage everyone on the exercise side. I am a bit of an exercise junkie, and I know the benefits of stretching and movement, right? So do you, and what that has on our brain and our bodies and our overall sense of well-being. So tip number 3, real quick, and we're going to round this out, is deliberately shutting down the workday. I love this one so much. I started this a few years ago, and it's a game changer. It's the ability to be able to close kind of the door on work and then move into family, friends, whatever that next move is in the day. So it allows you to just close that, have some healthy closure to it, and move on. A couple quick examples of folks that I coach that have some great shutting down the workday rituals. Tom, the IT guy. He, of course, has this goofy mantra, but I have to share it with you because it just rocks. So at the end of each day, when he closes down his computer, right, hits that restart, he literally says this mantra: schedule, shutdown, complete. And that is his ritual that has this great emotional sort of connection. Like, I did it. I worked hard today. Now I get to close the day and go home to other things, on to the next thing. I love that. Michelle, here's another great example. She's a work from home VP of people. So working from home, right, closes her laptop and then immediately goes in and changes her clothes, specifically her shirt, right? Because what do you see most of the day? Pajama bottoms and a nice sport jacket, right? So she closes her laptop and then goes to change her shirt before she engages with her family. And that conscious shift helps her focus her energy to her loved ones. Here's another great one from Erin, a marketing director, very creative type. So she ends her workday by journaling 3 to 5 things that she is grateful for about herself. She closes her day by journaling 3 to 5 things that she is grateful for about herself. Think about this. What do you think this does for her? How do you think she sleeps at night? How do you think her level of work satisfaction has changed over time from doing that journaling? Her self-efficacy is up, her confidence is up, and she has rewired an entirely new narrative. And that is an energy cascade that absolutely impacts her colleagues and her team. And I can only imagine the thoughts that are going through some of you that are listening. You're like, say what? She closes her workday. This is her energy ritual of journaling about 3 to 5 things that she appreciates and is grateful for about herself. So let me just say this. Perhaps one of our most important rituals is to love and appreciate ourselves daily. I just hope you all sit and think with that for a moment and think about how that appreciation and respect and love for yourself can have such an incredible impact on everyone around you. And I realize, this is an at-work podcast, but without question, it's also about your family and your friends. So I've got a bonus energy ritual that is one of my incredible favorites on this exact note, and it's called Change Your Story. But we're not going to talk about it here. Go out and grab that Peak Leader Guide and read it there and make ritual number 1 your practice. Let this change your story, and how I guide you through to do that in the Peak Leader Guide for this episode. Let that be your practice run at energy ritual number 1 we talked about, which was finding reflective white space. All I'll say is that people can cultivate positive energy by learning to change the stories they tell themselves about the events in their life. So that's energy ritual number 4. Go out to the Leader Guide and grab it. So what did we learn today? That we must be the person who is willing to do more to prepare for success. And that is exactly what these examples of great energy rituals do. And that it is the emotions that make rituals so powerful. This isn't necessarily about habits. This is about rituals and the feelings that are associated with these rituals that help us literally win the day after day after day after day, so that our energy capacity and reserves stay strong, right? Because managing our energy, not time, is the secret to life and leadership. And what I love about all of this is how powerful a simple ritual can be to create the needed energy shifts, right? And there's needed energy shifts throughout the day. So your last game changer tip for today is, where do you need to insert those energy rituals so that you can do the shifts that you need? And that may not look the same every day. Oh my gosh, thank you so much for listening in, for soaking it in, for being reflective in this space and taking the time to invest in you. Again, go out, grab that Peak Leader Guide, get the rituals we talked about, and then the bonus one about the stories that we tell and say to ourselves. I'll catch you on the next episode where we are going to deep dive into the discipline of renewal. So it's just a great extension to this one, but we're really going to get gritty about renewal. And I've got some incredible tips that you can take away there. So, oh my gosh, cannot wait. Until then, keep leading to your peak, friends. Purpose-driven, energy-fueled, self-aware, knowledge-hungry leaders.
I'm Rosie Ward, and this is Show Up as a Leader. To learn more, head over to peopleforwardnetwork.com and, of course, hit that follow button.